The Milky Way was so beautiful tonight. The clouds were parted just enough to let a sliver of the moon shine through, casting everything in an eerie silver glow. 8-year-old Leo couldn't take his eyes off of it as he laid in his bed. His little sister, Maya, who was 6, was already fast asleep, though, but Leo still had a lot of energy. He wished there was some way that he could explore space. He knew there were planets out there that were just waiting to be discovered, and he wanted to see them for himself. As if by magic, a spaceship suddenly appeared in the corner of his room. It looked like something straight out of one of his comic books, and sitting inside of it was an alien who introduced himself as Zorp. Turns out Zorp was from a faraway planet, and he needed some help getting home. Leo quickly agreed to help him, and the two of them climbed into the spaceship together. With a flick of a switch and a flash of light, they disappeared. When they reappeared, Leo found himself floating in a dark void surrounded by thousands of twinkling stars. He and Zorp were now outside of the spaceship, and Zorp explained that they needed to get inside the ship quickly because they were entering the asteroid belt. Leo had learned all about this in school. Asteroids are rocky bodies that range in size from small pebbles to hundreds of miles across. Most asteroids orbit the sun between Mars and Jupiter, but there are actually millions of them all throughout the solar system, so they really needed to hurry up and get to safety. The asteroid belt wasn't nearly as dangerous as Zorp had warned him of, but Leo was still very happy to leave it behind. They had traveled so far so fast that he hadn't even had a chance to get scared. And soon enough, they entered the orbit of the first planet of the solar system, Mercury. As they approached, Mercury grew larger and larger until it loomed in front of them like a massive gray ball. Leo had known that Mercury was small, but he had no idea how small. It's the smallest planet in the solar system, being only 3,000 miles in diameter. That's less than 1/3 the size of Earth. He knew that it was also very close to the Sun, but he didn't realize just how close. From the Sun, Mercury is only 36 million miles away. To put that in perspective, that's less than half the distance between the Sun and Earth. Leo expected Mercury to be burning hot, but what surprised him was that it was freezing cold. Its thin atmosphere couldn't trap any heat from the Sun. In fact, most of the time, Mercury is in shadow and can reach temperatures of negative to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. Leo and Zorp only stayed for a few minutes before moving on, but in that short time, they got to see Mercury's giant craters, cliffs, and deep valleys. They zoomed through space for a while, passing comets, shooting stars, and other space debris. And finally, they arrived at their next stop, Venus. At first glance, Venus looked beautiful. It shone brightly, almost blindingly white against the dark backdrop of space. But as they got closer, Leo saw that there was a thick yellow haze covering its surface. Zorp explained that Venus's atmosphere is mostly made up of carbon dioxide, and that's what gives it that yellowish hue. He also told Leo that despite its beautiful appearance, Venus is actually a very dangerous planet. It's extremely hot, with surface temperatures reaching 460 degrees Celsius. To make matters worse, the air pressure on Venus is 90 times greater than Earth's. So, if Leo ever stepped foot on Venus, he would be utterly crushed to death. Leo shuddered at the thought. He and Zorp continued to fly above Venus until he could see its surface more clearly. And what he saw shocked him. Venus is covered in volcanoes. There are thousands of them, and many of them are active. Leo had never seen anything like it. Venus is not a place for humans, but Leo was glad to experience its awfulness from the safety of Zorp's ship. After leaving Venus, they headed towards the last planet of the inner solar system, Earth. As they approached, Leo could hardly believe what he was seeing. Earth looked so much smaller from space than he had imagined. It was just a tiny blue marble surrounded by a thin layer of atmosphere. He realized how insignificant he was in comparison to the vastness of space. Despite its small size, Earth is very special. It's the only planet that we know of that has life on it. Leo knew that there were other planets out there that might have life on them, but he was grateful that Earth was his home. As they flew around the planet, Leo pointed out different countries and oceans. He loved seeing the world from a new perspective. He and Zorp flew over his house, and he waved to it. Waving to his house from outer space, who would have ever thought? Leo and Zorp continued flying until they reached the other side of the planet. And then, with a flash of light, they disappeared. When Leo opened his eyes, he was back in his room. The moon was still shining brightly in the sky, and he could hear the gentle chirping of crickets. For a moment, he felt sad that his adventure was over. But then he remembered that he had seen amazing things and that not many people got to say that they had traveled to other planets. And it wasn't just a dream. He still had the spacesuit that Zorp had given him. He slipped it on and looked in the mirror. It was just a normal-looking jacket from the outside, but when he snapped the clasp, it transformed into a sleek, shiny suit with a helmet. Leo smiled. He knew that whenever he wanted to go on another adventure, all he had to do was snap the clasp. And then, just like that, he would be soaring through space, exploring the solar system and beyond. Hi, Space Cadets. Are you ready for a quiz? Put your hands together. Oh yeah, okay. Here we go. 1. What's the smallest planet in the solar system? A. Venus. B. Mercury. Or C. Earth. Well, that's a great question. The answer is B. Mercury. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system. Next question. What is the name of the rocky bodies that orbit the Sun primarily located between Mars and Jupiter? A. Comets. B. Asteroids. Or C. Stars. That's a tough one. The answer is B. Asteroids. Asteroids are rocky bodies that orbit the Sun and are usually located between Mars and Jupiter. Last question. Which planet is known for its thick atmosphere and extreme heat? A. Earth. B. A. Earth. B. Venus. Or C. Mercury. That one's easy. The answer is B. Venus. Venus is known for its thick atmosphere, extreme heat. Okay, Space Cadets, that's the end of the quiz. How many did you get right? Give yourself a pat on the back if you got them all right. You're a certified space expert, wow. See you next time.